I want to talk about Rav Shmuel Berenbaum just for a couple of minutes. He was my Rosh Yeshiva, and to understand that Talmud Torah K'neged Kulam, what he was famous, what he was known for, was his hasmada. Rav Shmuel Berenbaum never stopped learning. He learned and learned and learned and learned. But not normal. In other words, even Rosh Yeshivas, they have a wedding, they have this and that, so they would leave yeshiva in the middle. They have no choice. Rav Shmuel Berenbaum never left the Beis Medrash. He never left till Seder was over. He was my Masada Kedushin. And he told my parents and myself that he would love to be my Masada Kedushin, but the chuppah has to be after 8 o'clock. Because he will not leave the Beis Medrash until Seder is over. And Kachoya, my chuppah was like at 8:30, and he was Masada Kedushin. There are many, many stories of his hasmada, which was amazing. I heard today a story where he didn't get involved in politics. He didn't get involved in anything outside the Beis Medrash. That was his world, sitting and learning and giving shir and learning and giving shir. He didn't understand anything else. Someone told me a story today that they wanted him to come to the Agudah convention a long time ago, and Rav Moshe Feinstein Olav Shalom and Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky in Muncie, so they were the two big Gedolei Adar, and they wanted to invite him that he should come. They wanted Rav Shmuel Berenbaum to be there. So discussion went between them. Rav Moshe Feinstein said, "I don't want to call him." So Rav Yaakov said, "Why don't you want to call him?" He says, "Because anytime we call him, we're going to be Mavatal Torah. Because no matter what time we're going to call him, he's learning, and I don't want to cause the Rosh Yeshiva to be Mavatal Torah." So Rav Yaakov Kamenetsky said, "I don't want to either." So they didn't call him. That's how the Gedolim was scared to call him, because no matter when you're going to call him, he's sitting and learning. You can't break up his learning. He was just a person who just sat and learned and learned and learned, and he didn't know anything else. And he went through Shanghai, he went through the war, but Lamaisi, he was in America. I think he was 55 years. He was in Mir. A very, very long time. I was in yeshiva 32 years ago. And what? Yeah, he did. He came to a wedding. He was learning. He never stopped learning. So they said a story about Levaya. It's a little hard to understand, but if you knew him, it's not so hard to understand. So he told his son, I'm not sure. I'm repeating it the way I heard it. I was there. Maybe some people will be scared to repeat such a story because maybe it'll be misunderstood. But I'm just going to explain to you what one of the people who got up and said that Rav Shmuel Berenbaum Rosh Yeshiva told either his son or one of his talmidim that he's davening to Hashem, that before he dies, whenever he's going to die, he's supposed to die, he's going to die. But before he dies, he should get cancer. So the student or his son said, the Rosh Yeshiva is davening, he should get cancer, Yena Machla, cancer? Why would the Rosh Yeshiva daven for such a thing? So this was his answer. He said, I'm not davening to die. He didn't want to die. I wanted to live till he was 140. But he said, whatever my time is, I don't want to go to sleep at night and wake and die in my sleep. I want to suffer. And the most suffering today is the disease of cancer. So he said, why does the Rosh Yeshiva want to suffer? So he says, because the Gedolim of last door, the Holocaust and everything they went through, the Gedolim of last door, when I come up to the next world, I want to learn with them. And I didn't suffer as much as them. So I'm not going to be on that level. They're not going to learn with me. So I said, if I have to die, at least before I die, I want to suffer. So that the Yisurim will take away all my Averis, and I'll be able to sit and learn in the Yeshiva Shalmayla to learn with them. So he said to him, but Rosh Yeshiva lost two sons. Two of his sons, the son that was a very, very big in Eretz Yisrael was killed in a car crash. Another son was killed, was shot by accident by an Israeli soldier who thought that he was an enemy. He didn't see him. It was dark. Whatever it was, the story. But he lost two sons and two big people. So this Talmud said to Rosh Yeshiva, "You suffered enough. You lost two children. You suffered enough. What are you davening? You should get cancer." He says, "No. As much as I suffered, to get to see those people in the next world, I have to suffer more." This is Rav Shmuel Berenbaum. And he got cancer. He said, Hashem listens to my tefillos. You hear? You hear how a person, and 2 days before he died, so he couldn't. He was always thinking in Torah. His son was saying that, I don't know, he took some kind of thing in cancer. They had to treat him, and they stuck metal rods in his head while he was up. It was like the most agonizing pain that a human being can imagine. And they had like these 7 of the best and the biggest, surgeons and doctors were there when they had to do it, because it has to be done very carefully. And it's like crazy pain. And his son said by the Levaya that he was, the whole time they were sticking these metal things into his head, he was talking in Torah. He was saying, but I don't understand the inyan of psik reisha. And these 7 doctors are standing there like, there's no human being that can, he's supposed to be screaming in pain. And here this man is, what is he talking about? They asked the son, what is he talking about? He said, this is my father. He's just a piece of, he's a Gemara. He's a Gemara. You can stick all the needles you want into a Gemara. The Gemara's not going to cry. He's a Gemara. He's a shtick Gemara. That was the Rosh Hashiva. So he asked him, a week before he was very, very sick, his son asked him, so he said, Tati, are you scared of going to the next world? Are you scared? He asked him, are you scared to go to the next world? He said, what does it mean, the next world? He says, when a person dies, he goes to the next world. He says, what's the difference between this world and that world? In this world you learn, and in that world you learn. He says, I'm not going anywhere. It's the same thing. What is it to be scared of? He had nothing to do with this world. This world was in the Beis Medrash, in Mir. I'm not telling you a story about something we read in a book. I live with this. I learned in Mir. I told you a few weeks ago how I was there. The Rosh Hashiva got up, and it was like amazing to me. I watched this man. I mean, most people would have been dead. 20 years ago, he had a massive heart attack. He used to make a joke. Lamaisa, they say I remember, it was more than 20 years ago. I was in yeshiva. It must have been 30 years ago. That he had this massive heart attack. And he was gone. He was in the other world already. He was gone. And he came back, and the doctor said it was such a heart attack that no human being could have, and his heart got very, very weak from it. And he said that this is what he told somebody, that he left this world, he came to the curtain in the next world to go over, and they said, no, the world needs you. The world, if you're not going to be in that world, it's going to be very bad. And they sent him back down. And he said that he had a defibrillator. And they did an operation with a defibrillator under his skin, that when his heart stopped, it would shock it, like a paddles, but it was inside his body. And he used to tell the guys, I would be walking, and my heart would stop. And Hashem helped me, and my heart would start. It wasn't to him. It was just he went from Mir Yeshiva learning Gemara, and I'm sure he hopes that the Gemara he was learning, what are they learning in Yeshiva? Ksuvas. That they're learning in Yeshiva Shamayel, they're also learning Ksuvas. But this is the level that he was on. I know somebody that went to him, that there was somebody that was very sick and they needed a meifus. So we all go to the big Mukubalim and the Svarish, Chachamim. Rosh Hashiva was a person who sat and learned all day. And this person was very sick, and he gave a bracha, and mamash, a refuah, the doctors have no idea. So this person came back to Rosh Hashiva, and he said, Rav Shmuel, I understand. How, are you a meifus? You're a Makubal? What, you became a Makubal? He was a lit for sure Rosh Hashiva. There's no Kabbalah, you know what I mean? You became a Makubal? He said, listen. When your whole life, you talked in the Gemara, you talked to Abaye and Rava, and Rav and Shmuel, once in a while you could ask them for a favor. That's what he told them. So you're learning all the time, you're saying their name all the time, you're talking to them all the time, because his learning was, you're talking, then you could ask him once in a while, Rava, get involved, go in front of Hashem. It's amazing, such a loss that we have, guys. It's so scary. You don't understand in this room. The boys don't understand. But the void, when a gadol like this, it's sad. He was protecting the whole America. I'm very scared of what's going to happen now that he's not here. The only thing that you can have any hope that we're going to exist is that it also says that when a great tzaddik leaves the world, it's mechaper on the dar. It forgives the dar. And he suffered a lot. So we're hoping that he goes in front of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and that the void that he left cannot be replaced. There's nobody that can replace the void. But that he should be mispal for, he should be mispal for Klal Yisrael. His Torah was absolutely, it was amazing. And he was a regular person. I said to someone, he was a malach. He said, no, he's not a malach. Don't tell anyone he's a malach, because we can't be a malach. He's a regular person. And when you came to this Levaya, it was packed, thousands, 10,000, 25, I don't even know how many people. And he was a person who never left the Beis Medrash. He's one of the most famous Gedolim of the Dar, but he never mixed in politics or kashrus or any organizations. He lived in the Beis Medrash and became the most famous person outside the Beis Medrash. Because Talmud Torah is Keneged Kulam. Learning Torah, that's above and beyond everything else.